Having done a semen analysis, which has to be detailed, you look at the count, the progressive motility grade A plus B, you are required to have a minimum of 2.5 million motile sperms per male for any IUI to be successful. And I think that should be your benchmark when you sort of prepare it for any gynecologist wanting to venture into this area. So ladies and gentlemen, IUI success rates are highly dependent on this particular sperm, a superman, a super sperm, and we need many of those. Let's look at why we need to separate and do the sperm preparation techniques. The sperm preparation techniques has to be quick, easy, and cost-effective. You should isolate as many motile sperms as possible, should not cause damage to the sperm or non-physiological alteration of separated sperm cell. Each sperm head has various different receptors. There's a progesterone receptor, there's zona pellucida binding receptors, and your preparation should not separate or damage any of those receptors. Eliminate dead sperms and other cells, including leukocyte and bacteria. You need to eliminate toxic or bioactive substances like decapacitation factors or reactive oxygen species. Allow processing of large volumes of ejaculates. There are two methods that for IUI preparation, that is the swim-up and the density gradient centrifugation. My choice is density gradient centrifugation because it achieves a lot of good quality sperms at the end of this preparation. There are two ways of doing the density gradient separation. The first one is just using a single gradient. Some of you may be using frozen samples for your patients. This requires a single gradient, either 80 or 90%, layering top with your frozen sample and centrifugation protocol. But the most important one that I use is the double column, discontinuous 40 and 80%, which is more efficient in separating motile sperm than the single for normal samples. And on average, good results can be achieved with both techniques. However, what is also important to recognize at this stage is that the sperm membrane binding characteristics is improved with the gradient separation techniques. In addition, you get a better motion characteristics, increased hyperactivation, improved longevity, and more morphologically normal in final population of the sperm. Again, I'm alerting you to DNA fragmentation of the sperm here, and therefore, if you are prepared to carry out this gradient separation, you will end up with a normal, sort of less DNA fragmented sperm and more intact sperms. You then need to, this study was collaborated with the presentation by Sakas et al. In 2000, where they show that the DNA integrity of the prepared spermatozoa is higher than that of raw semen in the majority of patients. So if you try to continue with that preparation, you'll be able to achieve much higher quality of sperm. Basically, this is the way you would prepare your density gradients. You have sort of two layers. The gradient upper layer, which would be 40%, and the lower layer would be 80%. And on top of it, you'll be adding your semen sample. Rule of the thumb is to use equal volumes. The total volume of the gradient should be taken as one volume, and the semen should be equally added onto it. You do not want to load your gradients, otherwise there would be a lot of sort of clutter, and you would not get a good separation taking place. Again, after adding the sample, you centrifuge it for at 1200 RPM for 20 minutes. Do 2 successive washes of 5 minutes each at 1600 RPM, and the resulting pellet, which is at the bottom of the conical tube, is collected and resuspended in 0.5 ml or 0.7, depending on your insemination protocol. And I would like to conclude my talk by sharing with you some of the results in my clinic. And these are the results that we have achieved from January to October. We are currently sitting at 16% clinical pregnancy rate since 2007. Our pregnancy rate has not varied that much. There have been high and low. So on average, we have maintained a pregnancy rate of 15%, I would say, and we still can provide a higher results depending on the patient load that we're going to be using. One area which you all need to be concerned about and need to take into consideration is the HIV samples. Some of the samples that you may get may be contaminated. So how do you deal with it? Well, there was a concern with regards to the possible risk of seroconversion in women. And there it was found that those HIV genome found to be to an extent of 18% in semen samples decrease to undetectable levels following a combined density gradient centrifugation with a subsequent swim-up. So you can treat a patient with HIV positive without using an incubator and also in the setup like what I described here. Finally, to conclude my talk, it is very important to choose the right media, which depends on the buffering capacity. Buffering capacity is essential because you're preparing the semen sample outside in an environment where there's no sort of CO2 control. Medium must contain at least a minimum of 25 millimolar of HIPIS, and this would allow you to collect and harvest much better sperm samples. Our results, which are presented here, do demonstrate that it is possible to achieve pregnancy from sperm preparation without the CO2 incubators. So this is an endorsement, and this is what we've been using at our clinic. Finally, it is highly recommended that the density gradient technique should be used with HIPIS-based media. It has also been shown to be more effective method for separating morphologically and genetically normal sperm. So what are we trying to achieve by doing the sperm preparation is to allow us to collect a very highly motile sperm population, something which can be returned back and has a good chance of fertilization without altering the entire morphology and all the receptors that are present on the cap of the sperm. And this is where we should be able to achieve that. With all this processing, I'm hoping that we'll achieve a baby. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.